What's up, everybody? You're listening to Back to the Feature. This is episode 100, and today we have a very special guest, returning Jeffrey Garcia, independent filmmaker. Jeffrey, what else? What other titles have you been given?
I've been given, Hey You, Asshole, and
Stop sleeping on the sidewalk.
recently The Kong of Wrong.
Kong of Wrong.
That's a name that's been given to me.
I like that. Wear that as a badge of honor.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about his film, Henrietta and Her Dismal Display of Affection. Fucking masterpiece, guys. I love this movie, and I'm not just saying that to say that. I would not have you on the show if I didn't. For your first feature film, correct?
My first feature-length movie, yes.
Awesome. Edward, what's going on, man?
No, I was gonna say aren't you also called the Uncut Gem of San Marcos?
I'm the, what's his name? Howard, I need to rewatch it.
Is that for real?
No.
Oh, shit. All right. So just jumping in really quick. Tell us about the inception of this movie. I know you made it a while ago, right?
Yeah, I wrapped it up. I wrapped up shooting right before the pandemic started, and I finished editing during the beginning of the pandemic. I'm a pretty quick editor, and it kind of stayed in limbo ever since. I mean, it has played in a few festivals. It's won an award. It actually premiered in Canada at a drive-in.
I thought you were going to say Cannes. I was like,
No,
holy
no,
shit.
no,
Oh, sorry, I forgot to introduce Becca, too.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay. I was like, when do I speak?
Yeah. Sorry, I totally
fine.
just missed the mark on that
It's
one.
all good.
Hey, man, what are you doing?
What?
You're supposed to stay on top of these things. No, I'm just kidding. So, back to it, yeah. So, oh, and you had a UK premiere, right? Or no?
No, just Canada.
That was the Canada one?
It premiered, the world premiere was in Canada, and since then it has played only in Pennsylvania. You know, the pandemic legit threw everything off, so only 2 festivals it's played in.
So, real quick, how did you get those into those festivals?
Oh, just filmfreeway.com.
Just submit it?
Yeah. They've made it pretty easy to submit movies. I mean, just because it's easy to submit doesn't mean you're getting in or anything. I mean, it's actually really hard to get into festivals, especially nowadays because everything's so saturated. You know, it's like nothing can really impress anyone anymore. Like the 90s era of the Kevin Smiths and Robert Rodriguez, that would not hit now. Not content-wise, because there's a lot of good movies that just get overlooked, but now festivals are just basically Hollywood, and they only care about image, money. 99% of the movies that play at Sundance had involvement with. So so the independent scene that was so, fruitful and exciting back 20, 30 years ago is gone, and now we're kind of just all left to submit to smaller festivals. And part of me feels like because of the digital revolution that took place in the 2000s that people are more expectant of higher quality considering how cheap things have become, but at the same time, everything's just super corporate everywhere, and it sucks.
Yeah, there is for sure a lot of independent films that shouldn't even be considered independent because they're being made for millions of dollars
with celebrity actors, with big famous people involved. I saw a really good independent film on Amazon, and reading about it only played in a few festivals, and the biggest festival that it premiered in was Slam Dance. Now, Slam Dance is a respectable festival, but it's considered an underdog, tongue-in-cheek Sundance. Now, any other decade, that movie probably would have been in theaters, or at least been in cons. Because consider this, Clerks played in cons, and Slacker and shit. I love those movies, but we're just in an entirely different world now, and I really am bummed out about how different things are, because now it's hard to impress people now, and it's hard to stick out, and there's just too many people making movies.
Well, I mean, I think with the I don't want to say content, but the themes in your films, they definitely stand out to what most people are putting out. I want to ask you, how much did you make it for?
$1,178, I believe.
Damn.
Crowdfunded off GoFundMe. You know, it's the only film, feature-length movie in San Marcos that's funded, starring, produced, directed, all of that from locals.
Yeah.
But no one talks about that. Like, that should be a big deal, but I guess it's not.
I mean, I think it is.
But-
Yeah, that's one of the things I liked about your film too, is just like seeing the city and seeing, because San Marcos is like a cinematic, in my opinion, it's a very cinematic town. Like, I think there's a lot of like spots that just like are visually pleasing that you can just go and film at. And
The Yellow Store is very nice to look at. I know a lot of people that take, like, I used to do music videos for a rap group. Sorry, I just saw the. Sorry, well, it's the booze coming up.
it's all good, Bert, man.
You know, I know a lot of people that just take photos professionally in front of the Yellow Store just because it has a very nice aesthetic to it.
Aesthetic gas stations. We have those.
Yeah.
Going back to the film, what kind of camera did you use when you shot it?
I used a crummy old Canon 550D DSLR.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I'm you know, back in 2017, I was like, I'm not gonna shoot a feature on this camera. That's, you know, I'm above that. And then, you know, over the years, you kind of just have to work with what you have.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm like, I became like kind of like a camera nerd, and I get camera lust all the time. But like, I have to tell myself, I'm like, dude, just use what you have. Like, I don't need to upgrade or do whatever. So, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, well, you know, a lot of it is about lenses and about color correction. So, you know, you could shoot on a fancy camera, but if it looks muddy and gray, you know, that's kind of on you.
Yeah, and so going to that, you did all the color correcting yourself.
I did
editing,
everything.
the
Yeah,
audio.
yeah. Editing,
sound
writing,
effects.
shooting, sound,
Score.
I mean, well, score. I had a friend I had several friends provide original score for the movie.
Nice.
I typically like to use just shit off YouTube, you know, copyrighted film music. But since this was my first feature, I really wanted it to get picked up by some type of distributor, and I figured I would have to hire someone to make music. Now, I have two versions of this movie. I have one that has 50-50 copyrighted, the other half is original music, and then I have another version which is completely original music. I prefer the half and half because I had to re-edit certain scenes just to fit the new songs, and sometimes when I rewatched it, it kind of tampered with the jokes and material in the film. So, I mean, that was strictly for distribution purposes to rescore the whole film. Yeah.
So, Edward, you rewatched the film today. Tell me, I know you have some burning questions from what you saw.
Well, I did, but you kept talking, so I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, no, man. So there's a couple of things. God dog it.
Okay, I have
go
a
ahead.
question. How awkward was it shooting the opening scene to the film?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Man, where do we begin?
I don't even want to ask who that was because it doesn't necessarily mean it was the actress.
So the gnarly close up in the opening shot, that was a prosthetic.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
that's what I thought, but I wasn't like
Right.
100% sure.
The actress was willing to use her own, but she was unfortunately on the rag.
Oh,
So
okay.
Yeah, she was excited to use her own, but
Wow.
you bought that vagina for
I bought
a
it
reason.
bought.
He's like, don't worry, I got one. Don't worry.
He's like, I bought it before we were dating.
No. I know a guy that makes low budget horror movies, and he makes his own prosthetics, and so he has a lot of limbs that are severed and available for purchase for surprisingly really cheap.
Yeah.
His movies are pretty cool.
I would say he makes low budget films, but it's very high budget for the props because they look really. You got the severed dick, you got the vagina.
Wait, who makes low budget films? Me
the
or
guy,
that
the
guy?
you're talking, the dog dick guy.
Well, the guy, he's known for movies such as Dog Dick, Nutsack, Tantrum, and the Bliss. His name's James Bell.
James Bell.
He goes by Very Fine Crap Videos.
Where can you watch these films?
He just sells them on DVD.
Oh, okay.
So you have to order them from him. His name's... Yeah, you just gotta look up Very Fine Crap Videos.
Well, he has an Instagram, right?
Yeah,
He
same
posts
name.
his like prosthetics, and they make all kinds of like props and stuff. But they're doing it like the legit way. Like you clearly didn't even know. I mean,
Oh, I did. Actually, I did.
Yeah.
Hey, what is that supposed to mean?
I mean, no, because I was telling you when he was editing the film, I was like, everyone's gonna think that's her vagina.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
no, like so many people are gonna think. But then they're like, yeah, it's Shauna, and like that makes sense. Like she's wild and crazy.
Yeah, I mean, his movies are like shot on like old handy cams. You know, they're not high quality, but his prosthetics are definitely pretty
Yeah.
ace. So
Spot on.
yeah.
Yeah, but going back to filming, so I want to
Right
know
on.
more.
Yeah.
What was the atmosphere? What was going on? What was going through your head when you're like, hey, because also she's, there's nudity in the film too.
Yeah. Well, in San Marcos, where we shot it and we live and where we're from, it's like, everyone's just, you either got some old burnout acid head hippies or you got some college kids that are freaky and arty, and so you can occasionally find someone that's down to, show skin, and it's honestly always awkward for me to film nudity.
You can keep talking. I'm just gonna go hit the record button on the
Okay,
camera.
right on.
I have a question while he's doing that. So, the actress who plays the mom, I don't know if does she have a name besides mom?
It's Kathy.
Okay, no, is that her real name?
That's the character name.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, is she the same one from Radio Candy who's in the wheelchair?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, she's. I don't want to say she's bald, but in
She
Radio
was
Candy,
bald,
in
for
Radio Candy she was. But I was like, she looks so familiar, but I don't know if it's.
Yeah.
I didn't even put two and two together. Like I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's funny because they're total opposite characters. One is just, and then the other one is just...
One's like
Lively.
catatonic. Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's a good performance.
Yeah, she became a real character actress. She's never really acted before, but just her enthusiasm on set and stuff. Like, I love seeing her performance because she just goes, and she's in your new one too. So I've seen like 3 different transitions of her, and it's very fun.
Yeah, her new one's kind of similar to Kathy, just kind of... Well, I mean, we can get into the new one later if you want.
Yeah,
but,
we'll definitely circle around.
Yeah.
But since we're talking about character actors, Grace Barlow, she's
Yeah.
we've
Shout
had her.
out.
Yeah, she's so awesome. We've had her on the show a couple times. The character you had her playing the dispatcher, right?
Yeah. The 911 dispatcher.
That was so fucking awesome, dude. And
Yeah.
she's so good at doing these voices and stuff.
Yeah, I always try to make her, I always try to have her, perform to the extent of, I always try to like push her to do something really out there and stuff. And she enjoys that, 'cause most of the films she gets offered to do is just like, like a normal person, but my movie, she's like all wacko and broken neck or whatever
It's
the
to be
hell.
like Halloween.
Oh,
yeah.
And honestly, in your films, like I feel like her performances are like the best, some of the best performances
Oh
she's
yeah,
given.
Whimsy and Hester is like the best actor in that movie.
Yeah, she's fucking awesome. But yeah, I like how you do like what you do. You just like give her this like the most fucked up, decrepit character you can think of, and she pulls it off.
Oh yeah, she's great. Yeah. I don't know what the next one will be, what the next character will be, but I always try to one up it at least. Although I think her character in Radio Candy had more of a challenge. It was like a British accent, broken neck, arm, leg, and Tourette's. So she had to kind of really put it all into one. So
Yeah.
I have a story about that. It's a little embarrassing. So we were at this place called the Price Center filming for Radio Candy. We were filming the scene where it's like the party, the office party.
Office
And
Christmas.
and so we get there, and before everyone's even reading lines, I guess she and Conway were practicing together. And there's a scene where like she's sitting down and she's like falling down, and they were practicing that. And I looked around and I didn't know that, so I like came over and I was like, oh my God. And he's just kind of staring at her, and I'm like trying to help her, and she's like, she went through the whole bit, and then she got up and she's like, oh, it's part of the scene. And I'm like, I'm gonna walk away and like let you act, I guess. Like, I just want to make sure you didn't die.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's how good her acting is.
Yeah,
You're like,
it was
holy
wild.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and then, like, you have Conway in your films. He plays, what's his character's name? Justin? Or
Kevin?
no, Kenny?
Edward
Kevin.
Eddie got it right.
Well, you just watched
Was it Kevin?
Yeah, it's Kevin McNeely.
McNeely, yeah.
So, fun fact, Kevin McNeely, which is Conway right here, he is referenced in Radio Candy, which was my prior film. And through dialogue. So there's one character in Henrietta that is also in Radio Candy. It's how I kind of connect them all. And the character's name is Trevor, and he's the guy in Radio Candy who is wearing the red striped shirt, the fat guy that gets his head stomped in. He's also in this one.
Yeah.
Just for like a couple of
He's kind of like a sidekick, right?
Yeah.
They're like racing and he falls and jacks his eye up.
Yeah. So that's how these universes are connected, and which means that that this film is also connected to Whimsy and Hester.
What's the name? So you're really good. You're really good at picking titles for your films.
Yeah.
What is the name of your universe?
I like to call it the Reedville Saga because it takes place all in the town of Reedville,
I like that.
which is a real
Yeah, that's a
town.
real
It's
town.
kind of like like past Redwood, I think, or before Martindale.
That's where
Yeah.
Edward lives now.
Yeah, well, it's in. Well,
I'm just
I've
kidding,
always
I
known
don't know.
Reedville in between Martindale and Maxwell.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
It's an in-between town. It has like one road sign,
Yeah.
and then you're in St. Marcus.
Yeah, it's not like a real town, so I kind of used that because I didn't want to be too chained to San Marcos, you know. So I figured Reedville would be the next best, name for it.
I like that. That's awesome.
I will say Uncle Albert is probably my favorite character. Him and also I don't know his name in the movie, but he's Ricky Valentine, but he's also the photographer around San Marcos.
Yeah, Christopher.
Yeah.
Yeah, C. Paul.
So I saw the interview you did at the Jim Thorpe Film Festival.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was listening. I watched it, listened to it, and they asked you about the director character, and they were like, "Oh, so is that you?"
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So was that kind of inspired by yourself, or no, not at all?
Not when I wrote it,
No.
but because Christopher kind of looks like me, which I don't really see too much.
It's the mustache.
It kind
It's the
of
features.
became.
Brown, dark hair, mustache.
It's sort of like, I mean, there is the whole Christopher. I mean, the whole Ricky Valentine story arc in the movie is definitely like me commenting on the film itself. Like I have this guy who just shows up to random people, asks them to be in a movie, which is what I do, and puts them in uncomfortable situations. And then at the end of the movie, I don't really get this in real life, but at the end of the movie, within this movie, all the actors hate it, except for like one. So that's sort of a commentary on myself. And so, yeah, it kind of is like me.
You're like a
in the
modern
movie.
day Federico Fellini.
Yeah.
You just
Well,
walk around town, you're like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah.
My next movie.
Can I get you to eat someone's asshole? That's basically how it is. So, yeah, it's a weird meta.
As they're already eating one. And they're like, huh? Oh, yeah.
That's where we find them.
right.
Yeah.
On camera this time? Sure, why not?
Yeah, so there's, I've always wanted to do a movie about making movies, and so I was able to kind of throw that in there.
Fuck
which
yeah,
is
dude.
nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, super meta.
Yeah.
So meta. What else?
Was that already like a concept that you had written down? Like
That was-
like what the movie within the movie was going to be about?
The
Like the Frankenstein and
yeah, that was
Lust
yeah.
for Frankenstein.
Well, because I always a lot of like amateur filmmakers, they usually do like horror movies and stuff, and so what better opportunity to lampoon the idea of making movies, and what fun way to shoot than like a horror film. And I don't think I'll ever do a horror film, so it'd be so it was nice
But you
to
kind of did.
I kind of did within that movie, but it's a really ridiculous horror film. It doesn't make any sense at all, It's
But
about-
if you did one, that's probably how
it'd
you...
probably be that. It'd probably be Dracula getting AIDS and taking revenge on everyone. So with a gun, which doesn't make any sense either.
Hell
He doesn't
yeah.
even bite anyone. That really sounds ridiculous. The more I say it out loud.
Turned it into a feature film. You're good. So, yeah, talk about your process because you have a very unique approach to it. You don't actually write anything until like the day of, or
it differs. So my process is pretty unorthodox, and I do not recommend it to anyone. I'm just psychotic enough to pull it off. But basically, I have an idea. I'll write a script, sort of. Mm-hmm. Well, my process has changed after Henrietta, so I'll just explain the process of Henrietta, writing. So after Radio Candy, I was a little bummed out because I wanted that to be my first feature, but it wasn't feature length, and I had to cut out some scenes because of time restraints of actor schedules and stuff like that. And I was at a weird crossroads where I just was like, I just want to make something more mature and serious, and so I started writing a script, and it was called Henrietta and Her Dismal Display of Affection. And I couldn't help myself but write fart jokes and all this shit, so that's kind of what became of it. And so I wrote a 20-page short comedy script with the same title, and basically the main key elements of the movie are still in there. So it started off with the mom and the sailor, that's all intact. And Henrietta and the therapist going on a date, and then it was going to be Ricky Valentine, his whole thing, and then there was no Uncle Albert. It just sort of ended with them getting, the kids were the ones that got the hooker for their dad, and the dad kills the hooker, and then they throw the hooker's body away, and they're like, okay, well that's it, congratulations, it's over, the movie's done. So that was the script. It was a 20-page script. And we started shoot after about 2 days of shooting. I was really liking what we were getting, and the idea of a feature was gnawing at me really bad, especially after Radio Candy. And so I was like, it's going to be a feature now. And so I feel kind of bad for doing that because a lot of the actors didn't sign up for a feature, and I kept having to bother them like for a year every weekend. But that's and so okay, so here's the thing, because it was a 20-page script and I wanted to expand that, I had like 3 major plot points, and I had to fill that in to get I had to find a way to get from A to B and from B to C. So I pretty much made up that movie as I went along, but with an actual script sort of going on at the same time. Like, it was like what happens after this? I need to make this a feature length, so I'll have this character do that. I'll introduce a new character, and I'll have this. But they all had to kind of eventually lead up to this part, and then from there they have to go around here. And so I would, when I used to work at a cafe, and while I was working there, I used to think up ideas, and then by the time I got home, I would write it all down, and then start Facebook messaging people, texting people, hey, can you film next week or tomorrow or whenever. And then I kind of just played it by ear. It's really stressful. I definitely don't recommend it, but it has its advantages. And it also, so that way of filming kind of led to an unhealthy habit, because my new film is done very similar, only more just off the cuff, more winged out, more just whatever I write, and then we'll just film it. But we'll get to that later, I suppose. But yeah, it's I used to write scripts, and we used to film. The last script I wrote where we filmed everything was Whimsy and Hester.
Oh, okay.
Because Radio Candy, again, I was saying it was going to be a feature, but not really, and I kind of wrote 45 pages, and it turned to a 35-minute film, and then I had to, yeah, I'm not really my whole way of writing is just all over the place.
But do you feel like you become more like when you gotta do it on the day of, you become more creative?
Well, I have no choice but to kind of. This is what I've learned about doing no budget films. You are at the mercy of everything around you. You can't really write giant helicopter explosion chase scenes or just simple things like being in a restaurant for having a giant monologue or like some crazy stuff happen, because directing, especially when you have $0 or 0 resources, is a whole other ball game than screenwriting. So it's almost easier to just grab a camera and write some shit on a piece of paper or a napkin or an iPhone, and then just go, hey, let's go film right now. And
yeah, that's what I want to say though. Like, dude, I truly hold you in high regard, and I think what you do is what you're doing is like not only special, but like I commend you because it's really easy to get hung up on like the script writing process and being like, no, the script's not perfect yet, or it's really easy to get hung up on like you were saying earlier, like equipment or whatever. And with you, like, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but like you have that fire in you where you're just like, I want to write something and I want to go fucking film it immediately or as soon as I possibly can.
Yeah. It's you got to be an obsessive psycho to do what I do and to do it the way I do it. You can't really, like, I know there's more professional ways of approaching film, but I just am so, it's my main medium. My main medium used to be drawing, and you know how whenever you're drawing, you just draw on anything. You draw on homework, you draw on class assignments, napkins, pieces of cardboard, whatever. That's how I kind of approach filmmaking. I just kind of have to do it.
I just want to let you know though, there's actually this filmmaker. His name is Joe Swanberg. I don't know if you heard of him. He makes like independent films and stuff.
I think we talked about him last time.
Yeah, he has the same process as you. Like he doesn't actually write a script. He just like writes almost like a treatment, and it's like just a paragraph basically of like what the movie's about and what's gonna happen, and like kind of like what you do now. Like he would just get who he could get to be in his films, and he ended up making like 30 feature films before he got to like get into Hollywood, and like not even Hollywood, like still independent level, but he started getting like famous actors in his movies.
Yeah.
And
He's sort of like the father of mumblecore, right?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's another way of approaching movies, is where you just kind of have an idea that is fleshed out enough in your head where you're able to just, I mean, not enough to write it, but it's sort of this bizarre way of filmmaking where it's kind of like you just grab elements, you just have them there, and then you just kind of just breathe in this like weird like life dust, and it creates the movie. That's
and there's an energy in your films that like these other movies aren't going to have because of the independent process of, like you were saying, you just like get this magic dust, like just the process itself gives it this different energy, and you see it and you feel it on the screen, and I think that lends itself to your movies, in my opinion.
Well, thank you. Yeah. There's a lot of independent films that are super robotic and soulless from what I've seen in festivals, because it's just like another, like a whole other thing. It's just like these people don't know each other. They're all just kind of here.
There's a big difference, I guess, in the way they're approaching it. Because with yours, the thing you're saying, like that energy, it's not just what he's bringing, it's the actors too, because they're excited to be there. So you get this whole different thing, because you watch a movie and that's someone's job, those actors or that lighting person, and they're all there making money, and sometimes they're just the next job. But you see it in the scenes, and I see it when I watch them. Like, I remember what's happening off camera, that day, and it's just so much fun and excitement. And I mean, even after like the fifth or sixth shoot with the same person, it still feels like this same newborn baby of like excitement, because you get like a new actor coming on who's never acted before, and they're kind of nervous, but they're fun, and they're like, wow, this is all weird, there's a camera, okay. But you kind of still get that like joy and playfulness with these people, because everyone like gets it and they're into it. I don't know. That's what I see the difference between your stuff and then some indie goober stuff.
Yeah, it's like pure, it's just pure. It's just, we just got good it's like everyone's like, it's like the feeling you get when you have your first kiss with that one gal,
With your
it's like that.
host.
It's not like,
Just kidding.
but you keep doing it over and over, so it's always like, it's like a new relationship, but you keep, it's exciting. And you don't know what you expect out of it, what's gonna happen, but that excitement it lends itself to the screen when you watch it, because it's like playtime. It's like everyone's just throwing on some random get up and then just saying some crazy shit, and then it's there.
It's very playful. As soon as you put on a costume, because I mean, obviously his costumes are always really bright, but like I'll like look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, okay, like we're here now, like we're
Yeah.
doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing I want to say. Like you do have like a tone, or like like you're saying, the costumes are very bright. There's a certain look to the film, and with this movie, it was different to me because it was contrasted against some like real. I wouldn't say real world situations, but like there's like a party scene that Uncle Al goes to, and then there's like the bar. There's like some nightlife scenes. So you're seeing these like really weird characters, and they're like, I guess in the normal world, it's like contrasted against like normal people.
Yeah, definitely the party scene when Uncle Al is, everyone's kind of dressed normal,
Yeah,
but then
yeah.
him and his pal Balderdash are just. I like to think of these films as like live action cartoons,
Why do they call him that?
Yeah.
Because that don't make no sense.
I mean, they never change clothes either. They always wear the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
throughout the
that's
whole
true. I
movie.
didn't think about that.
Yeah, like this throughout the whole movie. I mean, except whenever he gets naked, but it's just the whole. Yeah, my approach is very just.
Oh, Furley in the shower?
Yeah. Oh no, Furley, having sexual intercourse with a hooker.
I almost
remember
gave
that.
away. The
Don't give away the ending.
I
Oh, I was gonna
almost
say that's at
did.
the end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'll just say they were talking about prosthetics.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So real quick, how did you get? I want to ask, how did you get Justin on board? Like, what'd you do? What'd you say to him?
Justin. Okay, so his character is radically different from Jimmy Sinclair in Radio Candy.
Yeah.
So Kevin McNeely, I was just like, hey man, I want you to play a 16-year-old boy. And I mean, I didn't really give too much direction. I mean, he's just a young guy. Definitely when you try it on the wig, and the wig is like an anime wig. Like
Yeah.
it looks like a weird cartoon.
Yeah. If you take away the sweatband, it's like.
He's almost kind of like emo.
Yeah.
The way
Yeah,
it's
well,
like-
he's definitely a teenager. I mean,
Yeah,
every
yeah.
teenager had hair like that. I kind of still do in some
Okay,
sense.
and then Henrietta, would you say she's like the main character? I mean, the movie's named after her.
She is the main character,
Okay.
but she didn't sign up for a feature film, and her schedule, her in life and work and stuff was so packed
Yeah.
that I could only shoot with her maybe once or twice a month at that, and so
She did a great job too, by the
Oh
way.
yeah, she's awesome, and but
She was working like full time and finishing her degree. Like,
she
during
was
that.
working 2 jobs
Yeah.
and going to school, so that's why there's a lot of side characters in this movie, is because she was just too busy, and because I was making it up as I go along, sort of like I was going by and out like some sort of outline, but there's all this meat I need to fill in, but I can't have the main character as much as I want, so I just have her in the important parts. And then fill the rest with, Sleazy Sam or Ricky Valentine. Oh, Ricky Valentine was in the original script, but
It 100% lends itself to the film, though, because like you have this big universe with all these characters.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what, because like when I watch your movies, they feel like movies. They
Yeah.
look like movies.
oh, thank you.
And yeah, and I think that's part of it. Like you just have this big ass ensemble cast, and it lends itself to the film for sure.
Yeah, that's the definition of an ensemble movie right there.
And honestly, like I said, like your films feel like, sorry, and I keep interrupting, but your films do feel like movies because you cut away to these moments with these characters. Like we follow Uncle Albert, and we follow like these different characters, and you get to kind of spend some time with them.
Yeah.
And most movies kind of do that, but not really, right? We're so hyper focused on the main character.
Yeah.
So in this film, it is nice that we get to go around and spend time with a lot of these different characters.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there were more scenes of all the extra characters. Like they had more written out and stuff, and yeah, it's fun. I just love characters. I love dialogue. I love colors and imagery. I don't really care about plot or anything.
Yeah, so I do want to ask you, do have a very distinct style, and like I know you write these things intentionally. Will there ever come a time or a film, will you ever make a film that just deviates totally away from this style of filmmaking?
Well, it's funny is that I've been making movies since I was 15, and I've had my phases of certain styles, and what I've learned at both from experience and studying other filmmakers, it's best not to completely radically change a style if you're still trying to cement or establish yourself. Basically, like Henrietta was my first feature. if I made a black and white drama with no jokes in it, the next one, my filmography wouldn't, my name as a director wouldn't stick. I'd be kind of just all over the place. Basically it's the same way as approaching art, because a lot of times when you make art, let's say, Picasso, most famous painter or whatever, he, instead of having like a blue period, he just had a blue painting and then immediately did something else. Like you got to have something stick for a while and then evolve naturally. As much as I love different styles and I love when Steven Soderbergh's a good example of a director that does different types of movies over and over. It's usually, I like to take the Woody Allen approach, and he started off with really goofy slapstick comedies, and with each passing one, they become more mature or different or experimental or dramatic, and they eventually kind of grew into what we know of him today. So, he had movies like Bananas, and then, that's a good example of his earlier films, and then you have the breakout hit Annie Hall, and then you have the movie Interiors, which is a hard drama right after Annie Hall. You can't go from Bananas to Interiors without having an Annie Hall. You have, because Annie Hall was sort of the transition movie, but was also the breakout movie. So Annie Hall had one foot in that realm of the silly earlier funny comedies, and also had one foot in the Interiors, Manhattan, and basically what we know as a Woody Allen movie today. And that's the kind of approach I want to take these films. So I already have it going on where I want this one to be super outrageous and silly. Second one, the same thing, just a little different. And then eventually the third one would be the transition. So I would basically have, in my head, I have 2 phases at the moment. I definitely want to create as many movies as possible in my lifetime. But I have 3 movies as one packed. Henrietta, my new film Bubblegum, and then my third film will be the one where I really take the approach into a different direction. And that's like phase 1, Marvel phase 1. And phase 2 is what comes from that. And a good example too is like, this is not a movie, but Tyler the Creator, his musical his albums, he makes music. There's a big difference between Bastard, Goblin, and Wolf compared to Flower Boy, Igor, and now his new films. They're radically different, but they got there naturally, and they had a bridge between those two worlds. And so that's how I want to approach these movies, because I have ideas for other types of movies. Honestly, I've told people in interviews before that I like stuff like, Manchester by the Sea or The Brown Bunny and Woman Under the Influence by John Cassavetes. Those are the type of movies I really want to make. But you just don't do that right away. That's something you kind of have to grow into. And I've tried those types of movies when I was a teenager, and trust me, you really need the right types of people and types of resources and equipment and stuff to get to that level. And so I figured right now I can carve my niche into the bizarre, absurdist comedy exploitation realm of the film world and grow from there. Because there's a lot of other things I want to do, but yeah.
I mean, you have to look to the other filmmakers, because there's not one way of making movies. Look at Jon Favreau when he made Swingers, right?
Yeah, Swingers. Yeah.
They were trying to get like $5 million to make the movie. I think they secured like $200,000 or something. Yeah, something really under budget. And the guy he got to direct it was like, he's like, look, we can make it for this much, but we're gonna have to make it like a student film. Like, we're gonna be run and gun. We're gonna go to these locations. We're not gonna ask for permission. We're gonna reshoot, redub all the audio, do some ADR and stuff. And dude, that movie's a fucking masterpiece. So.
I showed her pretty recently Swingers.
Oh yeah, did you like it?
Yeah, it was pretty baby.
Yeah.
Yo, that shit was so money. I love the way they talk so much.
Oh yeah, your money, baby. I like when they go out and that guy like pulls a gun out.
And then the next scene, they're just all playing games in the apartment and having fun.
Yeah, fantastic.
No, great film, man. Yeah.
So, Becca, I want to ask you. You were in the movie, right?
Twice.
Twice.
Yeah.
Two different characters.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I was.
I should have rewatched it.
Well, I don't. I'm trying to think too. I don't remember who they were.
I'm the what's her name? Appleby, Veronica Appleby.
Yeah, you. Oh, well, that's not the first part. That
I know. First, I show up as
Michelle.
Michelle. I am on set of the Ricky Valentine movie. I'm playing the cheerleader.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
yeah.
sit and I die in the car with Conway. And then there's later on when Sugar Dog Nasty, who's the name of the pimp, and then Roxanne, the whore, when they're sitting there watching TV, they're watching a news segment of a Ricky Valentine interview, and I am the interviewee.
What?
Veronica Appleby. I'm in like a black wig.
Dude,
Yeah.
I did not even recognize you.
Yeah, I try to chameleon
Oh
that.
wow.
Well, that's another connection to Radio Candy. Veronica Appleby. Veronica Appleby is the aunt to Melissa Appleby, which was the girl that Adam had sex with in Radio Candy at the
Yeah.
end. The finger bang.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because. So that's another
It's
connection
all
too.
connected.
But then he just like stick his fingers in his mouth. He's like,
I
Yeah.
thought you were gonna say I was those socks.
No.
And you know,
Wait,
you know what I'm
weren't
talking
you the
about?
socks?
Furley was the socks.
Yeah.
Oh,
Furley
okay.
wore a
Yeah.
green screen suit in front of a green screen and played the socks.
I thought
So-
that's what you were gonna say.
No.
I was the
Yeah.
socks.
I also technically was a third character. I was the mom.
Oh, yeah.
So there's scenes with Stacy, who is the
Oh,
girl
yeah.
that goes out with Conway's character, Kevin. And she's twice in her room, and then later she's like, you know, getting hot and heavy with her, you know, Conway doll, Kevin doll. And, sorry, Conway. I go, honey, is everything okay? And she's like, fuck you, mom.
Yeah, shut up, bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So-
for real.
So she plays that voice. Yeah.
Yeah.
hey, is Furley like your Sam Jackson to Tarantino,
Furley's my.
De Niro to Scorsese?
Yeah, he's my muse. You know, I love Furley so much. I try to put him in everything. I didn't put him in Radio Candy because we didn't have matching schedules at all. He was
Oh,
working
okay.
a lot at the time, and I had characters for him, but it just kind of. But every other one he's been in, you know.
Yeah, we need to get him on the show.
Oh, yeah. He would love that.
That'd be awesome.
He was the original one we ran into way
Oh,
back when.
yeah.
HEB, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Yeah, Furley. You
Stalker
know,
Edward. I mean,
No, Furley and Grace were both at HEB.
oh.
at the same time.
No.
Oh.
Like, what? Are you shooting a movie?
You know, it's funny because the actress that plays Henrietta,
And then you
she,
look in the bushes and Jeff's there with the fucking camera, just like recording him.
You're in the movie now.
I'll be all-
what?
Like the Truman Show.
Yeah.
Bowfinger.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. No, I was saying the actress that plays Henrietta, who goes by a different a pseudonym for this movie,
Okay.
Alice McAllister.
Okay.
She was telling me once in person, she was like, you know, this town, San Marcos, is kind of like The Simpsons. You know, everyone just knows each other. We're all just characters and shit. And so I was like, you know, that's a good way of putting it. You know, there's Sideshow Bob and Groundskeeper Willie over there, and then you get the Mayor Quimby and then Professor Fink over there. Like, you know, they're just all kind of there in the grocery store and the gas station and stuff. But yeah.
Didn't she get recognized in Austin at her job? I swear there were some people who
I
were
think
like,
only
"Hey."
because of like an Instagram post.
Yeah, still hey.
But yeah, she likes to kind of keep it under wraps that she's in this
No
kind
doubt,
of
a
movie.
few people do. There's quite a few fake names.
Mostly women.
I mean, it makes sense.
Women are really hard. Sorry, women are really hard to get into movies.
Yeah.
If you're a no budget filmmaker and you're trying to get a gal into the film, it's really hard.
Oh yeah.
It's
for-
even harder to get their tops off.
Well, I've had
jokes.
I've had better luck there than that.
Right.
I'm kidding. No, it's just, you know, because like, you know, guys are like, oh, whatever, but you know, girls, it's like a whole other thing. But we don't want to get too much into that. But
Well, some of the actors have gone on to be teachers or professionals, and some people are thinking that through when they're like, "Yeah, I'll be in your movie."
and a lot of the guy actors are just, you know, Joe Schmo down the street.
A
So
lot of schmoes.
I love the schmoes. I'm a schmo. We're all.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so you were in Jeff's what was the not Whimsy and Hester, right?
Yes.
That was the first one you were in, right?
Yes, I was in Radio Candy as well. I was the bikini babe at the.
Oh, yeah, you're whipping
cult
the guy,
house.
right?
Oh, yeah. I was whipping Brian, our friend, our good pal.
Yeah.
But that was hard to film because, I mean, I've only met Brian a few times prior to that, like, and I didn't want to hurt him. So we were trying to get, he was like, just do the thing. And Brian was like, you can hit me. And I'm like, no. So I ended up like accidentally hitting myself a bunch of times with the belt. And like, I was like, I gotta go for the art. Like, it's fine. Like, he keeps filming it, but that was fun. But yeah, Whimsy and Hester was my first like major role.
Yeah, and so you're saying like I'm gonna probe you a little bit. So we were saying it's kind of hard to get women to be in your films. Like how were you approached, and what did you think, and why did you say yes?
Well, I had known Jeffrey, and he had texted me, and I was back in Dallas, and he's like, "Do you want to be, like in this new film?" And I'm a very artsy person, and I had just started, college, and so I was like, "Oh, our opportunities and things, yeah." And so I immediately said yes without even like knowing the script or anything. I was just like, "This sounds like a
Most
fun time."
people.
Yeah. But then we got to the shoots, and then that like solidified. I'm like, I made the right choice here because it was this weird organic thing. It didn't feel structured. It wasn't like what I imagined a film set to be. It was just like a bunch of friends hanging out. And after that first set, I was like, I'm down for whatever. Like, this is really fun. And then I liked it so much, I like forced him to date me so I could get behind the camera.
Now, well, you did a really good job. Your acting is
Thank
good.
you.
Like, I'm not just saying that to say you, but yeah, you're good. You are a good actress or actor.
Thank you. It's fun. You just kind of have to like do it. And really, a lot of times when I'm acting now in his new stuff, I'm mostly side characters. And I have such a, like, when we're on set, I have such a brain trying to make sure all the other actors are okay and they're comfortable and they know what they're doing. Because sometimes, like, people are like, Becca, I don't know how to memorize all these lines. And I'm like, you don't have to. Like, we can just go line by line,
Yeah.
And so a lot of people don't know that going into it. And I want to kind of liaison, because when we're on set, he's focused on the camera. He's focused on setting it up. He's focused on getting what needs to happen. And then I can help with everything else. And so even acting in the new stuff, I'm acting, but I'm also I'm visually looking at the cues that everyone needs. So it's definitely different, these newer ones, compared to Whimsy and Hester. Whimsy and Hester, I just came, was hanging out, and I was like, what's up? Where are all these people? Okay.
Well, it's funny because Whimsy and Hester actually had a script. These last two movies, 99% of the actors didn't know their lines until the day of.
Yeah, we give it to them on printed off Gmail documents. It like has the Gmail on there, and people are like, okay. And
Yeah. I have to say fuck you to this guy over here. Okay, all right. And then they just kind of study that. Yeah, I gotta just start fingering, or I don't know, just all this crazy shit. I gotta take a shit over here.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you another question. You kind of threw me off. I'm drawing a blank.
No, I was gonna say. So on the way here, I finished your film, but then I started listening to like, I just randomly put on like oldies, and I know that you use oldies in your films.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you because you were talking about how you would maybe eventually move to something else.
Yeah.
Now I love biopics.
Yeah.
If you got a chance to do a biopic about a musician, what do you think you would do it on?
Musician?
Yeah.
Nickelback.
Yeah, set the record straight.
Well, the only reason I say is because at work I was also watching. I don't know if you've ever seen the film. It's called Why Do Fools Fall in Love? It's about Frankie Lyman. And
Okay, I love Frankie Lyman. I've heard of the movie. I've not watched
We
it
should
though.
watch that.
it's on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
And
Cool.
it's just about like his life, but also it starts off. He had 3 wives that I guess 2 of them didn't know each other. So what happens is the movie is about Diana Ross comes out with Why Do Fools Fall in Love. One of his wives hears it and she's like, well, I'm supposed to be getting these royalties. So she goes and tries to get the royalties. In that time, she finds out that there's 2 other women who he was married to. So they're all fighting for his money. But throughout the movie, they're telling like, this is when I got with him. This is when we got married. And then the other 2 are like, well, I met him after that and we got married. So that's what the movie's about. And it really happened in real life. Not the way that happened, but the fact that he had 3 women fighting over his money.
Was that the one with Eddie Murphy?
No, his name is Lorenz Tate. He's the one who plays Loke Dog in Menace to Society.
Dude, I
He's
love
in
Menace
Dead
to
Presidents.
Society.
Yeah.
He's the guy in Dead Presidents,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. I
What'd
do
you say about
remember
my
that.
Yeah, I love Frankie Lyman. I have been meaning to watch that film. It's funny because Walk Hard, they address polygamy, marriage type stuff in that film, and That's just, it's weird how things used to be back then. You can kind of just go state to state and just marry someone.
Yeah, we should bring that back. I'm just kidding. No, I remember what I was going to ask you now. My wife's all over there in the corner. So I saw this. You had posted something. You were in like another short film where you play a guy, right?
Yes.
Or like a car salesman.
Yes. Yeah. I also. What's fun about working on Jeff's film is that we got connected to, because we did a screening at the same time. Were you screening Radio Candy?
I was screening Radio Candy in San Antonio, Texas, and there is a collective, an art collective that does a web series up there. And through that mutual association, Becca was able to get connected with them, and Becca does, a lot of hands-on art direction type stuff for them.
So it's called Powdered Wig Machine, and Brandon and Victor run it, and it's just this like, they've been doing it for 10 episodes or so now, but it's just a really fun thing because it's a collaborative approach, which is a totally different approach than how he does it.
I'm a dictator.
Pretty much. But it's like, it was fun when they asked me, because we had like kind of connected and just became friends through just mutual activities and stuff. And they had asked me randomly, they're like, do you want to be an art director for a new episode? And I was like, I don't even know what that job means, but yes, like, let's do it. Let's do something fun. So I was a car salesman in drag. I even had like a stuffed sock in my pants, which it really brings you into character.
Right.
I will say, I was like, I can do this. Yeah.
I'm a dude. I feel like a dude now.
Yeah, we're all dudes. You're a dude.
I'm a dude.
Yeah.
We're all dudes. Hey.
But that was fun, and so that was their last episode, or their second to last episode. But I recently art directed their newest episode that's having its premiere soon, and that was just so fun being, like, not only just there on set, but like seeing their process, their low budget process versus his low budget process, and like it was fun to be in like two different worlds but the same world, because they're much more collaborative because there's multiple people coming in and multiple people, and he kind of does all the jobs, all the jobs he doesn't do, I do. But it was fun to be like, this is my set thing, and I was like, oh, we should have these props, and they're like, all right, we'll have what's her name make it, and I'm like, I don't have to do it, and they're like, no, like it'll be done, and I'm like, whoa, this is cool. But it's so fun to collaborate. I actually play a guy, an old man, in their newest one, and I'm like, it's funny because Brandon, the main guy, he does a lot of drag in the episodes, and I'm like, is this just like my thing now to do drag in his episodes? But it's very fun. I'll invite y'all. We're having a premiere party for it soon, but
yeah, that'll be awesome.
it's a blast. But it's so interesting to see like the different dynamics, and the sets feel the same. There's still that excitement and that energy, and everyone's just happy to be there. But
Different approaches for sure.
very different, yeah.
Because they don't have a director per se. They just kind of have people just kind of like, hey, how about we do it this way?
It's very collaborative.
But me, I'm just like,
That's interesting.
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. When I'm on set with them, I mean, it took me a couple sets to realize what my actual job was. I kept asking people, I'm like, what is art directing? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And it was fun, but it was fun. I could like throw input on the camera angle, or I could throw input on, hey, you should punch like this. And like, I was kind of doing that, having more of a collaborative approach, and everyone was doing that. But when I'm on a set with Jeffrey, I really want him to do his thing, and like it's his movie always, and I'm just there to help make sure it's happening. And again, like as I was saying, making sure the actors are comfortable. That's like my main, because I know there's gonna be a good performance if they feel confident, and I'm there to help them get that confidence. And that really isn't the approach with Powder Wig Machine, because everyone kind of is just together giving each other confidence. But
yeah, that's another thing I was going to ask you too, because I saw you got a producer credit, right, for this film. So, yeah.
Well, yeah. She was, she was there almost every day of filming, making sure the actors were chill and situated and had their, props, and, she would go run across town and grab things if needed to be on set.
Well,
And
I'm glad you didn't do her like Stanley Kubrick did his.
We watched that one. Wow, yeah.
It was honestly kind of similar.
Yeah.
She was basically that guy.
Yeah.
As much as that guy was in love with Stanley, like I'm in love with Jeff, so I'm like, let's do it. Like I will do whatever.
The one you're
the
talking
film
about?
worker.
I think that's
yeah,
a good comparison. She was basically that
Yeah.
dude.
Well, that
in
I
my
mean,
films.
That's honestly what a producer does. Like, I mean, obviously
Yeah.
there's different. You have like an associate producer, you have a producer, you have like an executive
Yeah.
producer. Executives usually just throw money at a project or whatever,
Yeah.
get their name on it. But like, yeah, that is like essentially what a producer's job is, to like help the director get the
Yeah.
movie he wants made, and that's by doing any and every like little thing.
Yeah, it's basically like with Powder Wig Machine, the approach is there's 4 or 5 people on set, but they're all part of the collective and they all have brought something and they know what's going on. And then with Jeff, it's Jeff, and then I'm here as, mini Jeff. I'm like, whatever he needs, I will do. And so it's fun to be in like pre-production too. Like, I mean, it's all his creative outlet, and I'm just here to like help him make it happen. Like
You're not too much involved in pre-production. It's more or less like I have the script and I send it to you, and I'm like, hey, what props am I missing?
Exactly.
And so you'll read over the script or the scene of the day.
Yeah.
And go, okay, fake blood, fake this. Wig here, we got to do that, and I'm like, all right, cool, because that's a lot to handle. You
Yeah.
know? There's only so much I can do, and I
you
do.
need a second eye.
Yeah, you
But
just
then
need-
it's fun to not only like see what we need, but I love making the props. I'm very artistic in that sense, and
she'll gather props and make props as well.
it's really fun to watch these movies because almost every scene I'm like, oh, those are my overalls, or oh, that's my shirt, yeah, and like almost every character is wearing something of mine, and it's fun to be like, I'm costumes, like I'm doing this.
Yeah, she's like kind of like a little bit of everything.
That's
so.
awesome.
Yeah.
And we're getting close to that hour mark, but like I want to show some of your art too,
Oh,
because
thank
you are an artist. So we have this. I'll do a close up later. Edward, show that one. Yeah, tell us a little bit about these.
Yeah, there's just some stickers I made. Very fun stuff. This one was fun. This one actually ended up, Shelley Duvall actually has this in her possession, which was fantastic.
Nice. That's
yeah.
awesome. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm so happy that ended up happening because she goes to our local Thai food restaurant, and then he gave it to her. But yeah, I like to do my doodles and stuff, and I have a lot of different mediums, and I go and vend, and I'm basically sit there at the table, and I'm like, look at what I made. Do you want to buy it? Because I want to keep making stuff, so I know bills happen,
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but it's fun. I do a lot of commissions, and it's just fun to doodle around town. And I love San Marcos. That's the special part. That's how Jeff can make these awesome movies, because there's so many artistically inclined people and so many interested people, at least in the arts. And so I got into that world, the art world there, and it just connected me to him and to other people. And it's fun to like just be in that realm. So when I'm Vind, I'm meeting more people that way. But I get my movie kick with him, like doing all that kind of stuff. Because as much as I want to make my own movie someday, like I see how much work it is, and I'm like, I'm still going to school. Like I need to. It's a lot.
Oh, that's awesome. So you do have
Yeah.
aspirations to be a filmmaker?
I mean, yeah, it's hard because like that's like my mindset is like that's so his thing. Like I can't be like, and I am too, But like I don't know what my main artistic label would be, because I love so many different mediums, from drawing to I do needle felting and to like just everything else, and I want to add animation and film to that, because it's just, to me, it's like, I don't know, it's just art with a camera in a way.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so
absolutely. Yeah.
I'm going to get there eventually, but it's so fun to be on the backside of something like this and see, like I actually, for this one, I still have to edit it, but I filmed on the VHS camera he's using for his new thing. I filmed a behind the scenes documentary, which more so is just me shooting everyone acting and everyone laughing at the end and stuff. And I haven't really edited together. It's funny you're talking about like biopics and stuff. Mm-hmm. Jeff was like trying to help me edit it, and he's like, there's not really like a story here. And I'm like, I don't know. I want to show people how fun it is to make these films. And so that's why I like kept pointing the camera at everyone during the whole protection of that. And
Dude, you 100% can make a film out of that. Like,
Yeah.
I know what it means, because I do shoot some behind the scenes stuff for mine, and sometimes like, because I do double duty, I'm like working on my film and I'm trying to shoot behind the scenes shit. And I know what he's saying, because like sometimes you just don't get enough, But like you could always supplement that with like interviews and like
Yeah.
titles, and there's a workaround. You just
Yeah.
kind of got to figure it out in the edit.
I was able to get some interviews, but it was weird because this production for Henrietta wrapped up right before like serious lockdowns kind of started happening. And so I was trying to get some interviews, and it just took like, months and months. And then I had to like I remember interviewing Conway, and we had to like meet somewhere, and like we were distant, and we're still like not knowing what's going on. But I'm like, I just need you to tell me about how much you enjoyed doing this film, and because I wanted everyone to still be fresh, because at the beginning of COVID, like I'm like, is this the apocalypse? Like
Right,
I need to get this on tape, But it was fun, and I someday that will come together, because I think it just adds such a fun element, because when you can see the fun, because there's like the party scene was one of my favorite scenes to film, because we ended up it was an actual party. Like it felt like one.
That's kind of one of the cool things about doing these movies, is that like if there's a party scene or just even filming in general, it always kind of feels like a party. Just everyone's kind of just hanging out. Sometimes they're drinking or smoking or whatever, but it's like it's just having a good time.
Yeah.
And saying some weird stuff in front of a camera.
I hope I captured that party scene, because a lot of actors probably got too drunk, because it's just a long scene.
Yeah.
So we just had to keep having everyone kind of drinking and stuff, and we maybe prepared too much with alcohol. But it was just, I don't know, I love watching that scene, because I'm like, wow, because I even got like a little like tipsy, and I remember
fun.
filming, and I was like zooming in on people, like yeah, and I don't know, it's just something you can't get like on an official film set.
Yeah.
I've been asked before, like, whether I prefer filming or editing. And back in high school, I used to love editing, because that's kind of where the movie really is made. But as I get older, I just love filming.
Yeah.
Editing's a pain in the ass. But when you're filming, it's just like you're hanging out with friends and shit. So, like, it's just kind of like, that's to me right now, that's what I really like to do, is just shoot, because it just feels like, hey, we're all doing something cool, and, we're just making art. We're actually putting it together. We're making love, you know what I'm saying?
And that party scene, I did see Conway and his wife in the back.
Yeah, they're in the back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they played extras.
That's awesome.
So he plays two characters too.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
And actually, another guy in that background plays two characters as well. So there's a character in the Ricky Valentine screening where Ricky Valentine's like, Carl, thanks for letting me use your garage, man.
Yeah.
So that Carl is in the party scene too, in the background, just kind of talking to someone. So
I don't know who this guy is, but I like that character. He almost looks like Jesus. He doesn't say anything, but he's at the party and he's just like zoned out. You know who I'm talking about?
yeah, Dean. Yeah.
Yeah. That dude has a good look. I don't know. You should use him for something.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Yeah, he's cool. You know what's funny? He actually provided a lot of the original music.
Oh. Okay.
Him and the masturbating pervert in the trench coat. I asked both of them to provide music for the film, so they did some pretty jazzy experimental stuff that's in the movie. That's in both versions, because I was telling you earlier that there's two versions of the movie. That their stuff stayed throughout both. Yeah, they're very talented guys. They're very talented musicians.
And where y'all shot that, I know exactly where that's at. That's
that old school, yeah.
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 But I was thinking, I was like, hey, how do you... I mean, that dude must have had like no fear whatsoever. He's just like laying on the ground, pretending like he's like jacking off. And I'm like, I know where that's at. And it's a busy street.
Yeah, there's like family homes.
He said he was pretending.
But I was like,
Method.
man, I'm surprised.
Right.
But you shoot so many places, I get frustrated because I'm like, I'm surprised I never saw you there or anything. And I'm like, because
We used to film across the street from his house. So.
Yeah. I've filmed so many times.
And it's so weird because I know on is it Radio Candy?
Radio Canyon's the one where your house is like in the background.
Yeah, and then like I feel like I remember seeing people in that field, but I can't say it was y'all. I just feel like I remember seeing people record, but that was so long ago that I'm like I can't remember if it was you.
Okay, well I have recorded in that area back in 2016, 17. I was with a couple of friends, and we were shooting on Super 8. Like in that weird, but after, like the church, that church right there, and there's like this weird plot of grass.
Okay.
So like about 5 years ago, I was in that plot of grass filming with people for like half an hour. I don't know if that's me or not, but I have been in that area. I mean, your neighbor or your ex-neighbor, big collaborator with, so I'm always there. Or I'm not always there, but I have been there quite.
Oh yeah, just like last week we were filming a part on Burleson for a new music video you're working on.
Yeah, we were on that street too.
Yeah, we were like asking, like, does he still live there? And I was like, it's that house. I dropped off the picture there one time.
Yeah, we're trying to see if you're still there.
Yeah.
You're all knocking.
Yeah.
No, I'm not there no more.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but it's all
Yeah, that
good.
was a good location that you used to live in. Yeah. Well, guys, we are gonna gonna wrap it up. I really appreciate both of y'all coming on. Like, seriously, it's always a pleasure. Again, guys, like anyone who's listening, we highly recommend watching this. It's not for everyone. It's not for everybody. But you're gonna know if it's for you in literally the first like 2 seconds of the movie. So,
Funny.
yeah. Edward, do you have anything to say?
I will say that you don't post much on social media, but through her account, I'll like, cause we talk about it. I'm like, we'll see her like you were like in a grocery basket.
Yeah, it's for the
Right.
new film.
That's for my new film.
Yeah, and y'all, I guess that photographer guy's in it again.
Yeah.
So like through her little like stories, like I kind of get a glimpse of like what you've been up to.
Oh yeah, you know what? Fuck the time limit. Let's talk about your new film.
Oh, the new film?
Yeah.
I would love to talk
Yeah,
about the new film.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Yeah, for
Okay.
sure. Sorry.
Well, what do you want to know?
Everything. So let's talk. So you're shooting it on a.
So
yeah.
I am shooting my second feature-length film. Is it too close?
No, you're good. Just try.
I am 40 minutes in of my second feature-length film titled Bubblegum. And it is the story
Such a good title.
of Teddy Bupkis, the world's greatest used car salesman. It is about him and his 13-year-old mistress on the run from cops and gangsters because there was a failed assassination attempt on his ex-wife, and that kind of led to a whole commotion. And it's just very silly, very gross and weird, and it's everything you'd expect and more coming from my filmography.
Nice.
And it is shot on tape, on VHS tape, because frankly, I got really burned out when I was filming Henrietta on the technical aspect of it all, that I just felt like, I should just shoot something where it's just you point it, you press record, and that's about it. And I figured, well, I already have all these short films that were done a certain way. I already have the first feature. Let me have the second one be a little experimental. Why not? It's the kind of only time I'll be able to do it, because the first movie, Henrietta, I wanted it to be seen by distributors. This one, I'm self-releasing it because I don't care, and I want to use copyrighted music because I love copyrighted music so much. So I'm just going to get really crazy with it, and that's what I've been doing since about March.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And when do you think you'll be finished with it?
Okay, well, we got a good head start in March. We got so we have about 40 minutes of footage in the can, like 40 minutes cut.
How long do you want it to be?
I want it to be at least 70 something.
Okay,
Again, like this one. I like the idea of like 70-minute comedies. There's something sort of retro about it.
Yeah.
I mean, ideally, to me personally, I think that camera just turned off. Sorry.
No, thanks for telling us.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of like shorter movies. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. 2-hour movies, it's too much.
What?
Well,
Yeah.
it kind of just depends on what it is, because
No.
Didn't like The Irishman.
you didn't like World on a Wire.
I'll be honest, it wasn't. The Irishman was good, but it out of all the Scorsese films, it wasn't my favorite, and like I don't think like the length of the movie like lended itself to.
Yeah, I had to take like 4 pee breaks.
Yeah.
I watched it in theaters, which is kind of rare, because
No, really?
Yeah.
How was that?
It's honestly the only real way to watch it is in theaters. Cause,
Not on a Nintendo DS.
no, I don't.
I'm
I
just
don't
kidding.
have game consoles.
Have you seen all the memes?
Is that
No.
a thing?
Yeah, because like
Wow.
How it's intended to be
yeah,
seen.
Scorsese was like, it's intended to be seen in the movies, and
Yeah.
then people were like, I mean, it was actually pretty funny.
That's
Yeah.
Like
awesome.
somebody was like watching it on a Game Boy and shit,
Yeah.
and it was like The Irishman in 8-bit, all pixelated. Like it looked legit, but obviously, they did like Photoshop or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's hilarious.
It's funny because he says stuff that most people kind of agree with already, but for some reason that still pisses everyone off.
He gets a lot of shit for it, yeah.
I guess these billion-dollar franchises, they can't let anyone disagree with their
Oh yeah.
product.
Especially Disney.
Well, they're all crooks. Anyways, what were we talking
Unless
about?
they cut you a check,
Bubblegum?
Yeah, right.
right?
Please send it to.
Hold on,
I
okay,
mean-
legit. I have a legit question, and
Yeah.
I've asked myself this in the mirror many times, and I know the answer.
Candyman 5 times? in a
No,
row? Oh.
when, let's say you get approached to do like a studio film,
Yeah.
and it's like what you would consider a sellout movie, something that's like not your style, but you're gonna get paid a lot of money to direct it. Your name's gonna be all over it.
Yeah.
Would you do it? And I'm talking like millions of dollars.
I would like to do a real. Well, it would have to be in my style. I mean, James Gunn does big Hollywood movies in his style.
Yeah.
If I were gonna do a millions of dollar big budget, it's gonna play in the local Cineplex, whatever, down the street. I would like to do a really crazy action movie, just explosions and shit everywhere, like so bizarre. Just like, cause in high school I wrote a script.
Instead of Bayham, like J-Ham,
What?
Jeff Ham.
No, not at all.
No?
I have actually a pretty good story about my proposed action film that will never happen in the world. Me and my friend in high school, we were like, we're gonna make this. We're gonna make, someday we're coming up with this idea for like an action film, and it'd be called Short Stacks, and it's Danny DeVito and Joe Pesci as detectives, and they're kind of short, and it would just be so over the top. They're like on helicopter blades, spinning on the blade while shooting
Yes.
people in the air, and buildings are exploding. And Jim Carrey, Michael Cera, and Adam Sandler, and Zooey Deschanel, and Cameron Diaz are all in the movie.
Nice.
And it's just so over the top and crazy that it's kind of like the point of the movie. So that's something I would do if I had that sort of
We'll
fun.
make that happen.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would love that. That'd be so
we'll
crazy.
We'll start a hashtag. We'll do a campaign, kind of like the Snyder cut,
Yes.
the Jeffrey cut.
You're gonna bring Cameron Diaz out of retirement.
She retires.
Cameron, if you're listening, this is your moment.
Yeah. We're going to make pure cinema.
I'll be-
The most ridiculous action movie to come out in the last 30 years.
Listen, bitch. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that's awesome, man. So, but yeah, you didn't answer the question. Would you do it or?
What?
But like I didn't-
It like a completely run by the committee?
like you'll have a say, right? But
What
for
I
the-
really, because Star Wars, they didn't let their directors have a say.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay,
at
yeah,
all.
okay. Let's say, for instance, yes.
I
it's
mean-
like Star Wars. You're somebody's like, hey, direct the next Star Wars movie, but you have to do it the way we want you to do it.
Well, considering I'm like Nowheresville right now, I would probably have to just strictly because of the money.
Well, I would.
But if I was more established, like
100%.
Rian Johnson or anyone else, I'd say no. But because I literally am like struggling financially.
I mean, I would do it 100%.
Yeah.
You know, one for them, one
but
for you.
but well,
Take
that's
the money,
not guaranteed.
Take
either.
the money you make from it, and then like make a small independent. I mean, when I say small, I'm like $1 million independent film.
Well, it used to kind of be like that. Now it's Hollywood's basically dead now thanks to the pandemic and streaming and whatever.
It's in a bad spot.
But franchise films have taken over completely 100%, and so the directors that they do recruit to be in those to direct those films are indie filmmakers that have no knowledge of directing films at that high of a scale, and so they usually get taken advantage of and have their vision compromised to such an extended degree that it is almost not worth it. I don't like to do videos for other people. I do sometimes, and even though it's on such a low scale, it still bothers me. So like something on that high of a scale, literally the paycheck would be the only thing keeping me on that.
You'd be able to make your next movie with
Well,
that.
I would be able to just not have to work 9 to 5 at a cafe.
What's her name? Chloe Zhao. She won Best Director, Oscar. She directed Nomadland. Like that's like a super independent film, and now she's
Eternals.
yeah, she's coming out. Her next film is the Marvel Eternals.
Really?
Okay, so now that you put it in that frame, no, I am not doing a goddamn Marvel movie, okay?
I think it'd be fun.
No.
Yeah, you'd have fun.
I mean, as much as the
They-
industry is corrupt, you
They
could,
are the
like,
reason
have a
the industry
hand.
is the corrupt. Is
I know.
corrupt. Sorry, I'm just drunk.
Don't you think that they could be also the only ones saving cinema at the same
Yeah.
time?
No,
I mean, it's okay. It may not be.
they're the only thing keeping cinemas alive.
Okay.
But it's sort of like stabbing a dog in the heart,
And you can't.
and then patching it up, and then continuing to stab it.
Well,
There shouldn't be any stabbing to begin with.
so I will say to that, like they are keeping, like they are
Movie
keeping
theaters
like
open.
well not movie theaters, but they are funding filmmakers like own films. Like Taika Waititi wrote and directed Jojo Rabbit. He got money to.
Well, he's a huge sellout.
He got well. That's why he sold out to and he made the Thor movie, but then he got to go and make
Yeah.
Jojo Rabbit. Won a bunch of awards for it. I mean, it was a good movie too. I liked it. I don't necessarily care about the awards. Rian Johnson, like you're saying, he got to make Knives Out. That's an original film, like for the most part.
Yeah,
I
but-
mean, I really like that movie too.
What cost? It's like I mean, with every person, like that side of filmmaking is definitely, to be honest with you, I've never had millions of dollars offered to me, so I definitely would not know the true answer because it all kind of comes to when it actually does happen. But there is a part of me that absolutely despises that type of world. So on that basis alone, I'd say no. But I literally am like poor as fuck. So I would probably say yes, only because I'm not an established filmmaker. Like if I had a huge cult following and I was winning like big awards, like I was like Cannes, Sundance, I was an established independent filmmaker with his own whatever and a huge fan base across the world, because that's usually kind of who they target. No, but because I'm completely unknown, no one knows who the fuck I am, then probably yes. But again, it's just like when you say the director of Nomadland is now doing a Marvel series, that makes me want to throw up on my crotch because so that shouldn't even be a thing. And the reason why they get those people, it's not because they admire their artistic vision. It's because they can be taken advantage of because they don't know any better, because they do something complete. Why would anyone ask someone that does the complete opposite to do something?
Did you see Nomadland?
No, but I've read about her.
It's really good. It's a beautiful
It's
film.
on the
From what
list.
I've read about it, it is nowhere near Captain America shit or whatever. And I'm not saying Captain America's bad or anything. I'm not completely shitting on Marvel films.
He's America's Avenger.
He's America's
Or
ass.
I
Yeah,
love
hell yeah.
Batman and Spawn and shit. I'm not completely against superhero films. I just think the studios have got they rely so heavily on those films that that's all there is.
Right, yeah.
And if any of them fails, then we're all done for.
They're oversaturating the market. But this is what I will say to that is like, because I kind of had your mindset a while back,
Yeah.
and it was up until recently, like a few months ago. I don't know what happened, right? I just kind of like was like, you know what, I'm gonna go give Marvel a shot, and so I started like I had never seen any of the Spider-Mans. I never watched. I still haven't seen all the Captain America.
I mean, I like the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans. So like Sam Raimi, James Gunn, all those people, like
But the new
actual
ones.
directors. Oh, the new ones.
Yeah,
Okay,
I haven't
well,
seen the new
yeah.
ones. So whatever, I gave them a shot, and I got into it. I'm not gonna lie, and like,
Yeah.
and Edward, we've talked about this before, but I like them. I enjoyed them. They're
Yeah.
good movies. They're entertaining. And so, I was thinking, because I'm like you, or I do have that thought process too, where it's like, dude, they are killing cinema. They are taking away from these like independent films that could be getting that money to be produced. But at the end of the day, like, the entertainment business is the entertainment business, right? Films are subjective, genres are subjective. Like, not everyone's gonna like everything, and so there is a market for these like little niche movies. And I wish there was a bigger market. But the sad reality is, like, I don't know. Do you like Richard Linklater?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like everything. I hate Boyhood.
Okay, I like that movie, and I know a lot of people hated it.
It's a Lifetime original movie stretched out to 3 hours. That's all I could really say.
Yeah, there are some cheesy parts.
I
for
mean,
sure.
I don't mean to bring you down.
No,
I like,
you're not, but
I've met him actually. I've been in one of his movies.
Oh, really? Which one?
Yeah, I never told you that.
His
Boyhood?
butt was.
No. I was in I was in Everybody Wants Some. I was an extra on that film, and I got to meet him
Your
afterwards.
butt was in the movie?
Yeah.
You could only see the back of me.
You're a butt double?
It's
Yeah.
real cute. He's in overalls.
I'm in overalls and a tie-dye shirt.
Dude, that's badass.
So
And
I
you talked to him?
Yeah, I was like, hey, man.
Did you like that movie or no?
Yeah, it was good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
liked
fine. I mean, we just watched Suburbia.
Love that movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen
Great,
that.
great film.
You
It's funny.
should watch it soon.
I need
He
to
didn't
watch
write it. It was written by the playwright because it was based on a play. So there are Richard Linklater movies I love.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
but
that's the point I'm trying to make. Like, I love him. I love his movies. I love his style. Like, I want to make movies like him. I don't know if I ever will, but like people don't. A lot of people don't like his movies. A lot of people that I've talked to are like, "This shit is boring." And
who
and
are you
I've
talking to? Because
mostly
General audience.
mostly
Yeah.
mainstream, mostly like the popcorn moviegoers who are just like want to go watch fucking Michael Bayham movies. Like,
film audiences I've noticed throughout the years are split into different groups. There's those that only watch like Transformers and don't like anything else.
Mm-hmm.
There's those that like Fight Club and think that anything below that is, or anything else is, like, they think Fight Club's the epitome of cinema, which is
Right,
not.
no.
Obviously.
it's a great film, but it's not.
So, and then there's those that are strictly, 1917 directed, not 1917, sorry, that's an actual movie. Okay, so you got a bunch. Here are the tiers of film audiences. You got.
Well, hang on too. One thing I want to add really
Yeah,
quick. Sorry, no, I'm sorry. One thing I want to add too is like for me too. I have to be in a certain mood for movies sometimes. Like I am a big like Italian neorealism fan. Like I really like those movies, but they are really hard to watch. And sometimes I'm not in the mood for them. Like I'll put one on and be like, not today, right?
Yeah,
but then
for sure.
But then recently, like I was watching one of my favorite directors' name is Michelangelo Antonioni. He made La Notte, Eclipse,
La Ventura.
La Ventura, yeah. He had this like trilogy of films, Red Desert, dude. Like the other day, so I started watching one and I was like not in the mood for it. A week later, I put it on and I watched the whole thing from beginning to end. I was like totally, and I was like, oh, this is. So it's not only about like taste, but it's also like your mood. It's
Well, here's the thing: is that
for some people.
well, that's not really what I'm rebelling against when it comes to Hollywood, because of course there's the niche, indie, foreign market, but what has been going on within the last 10 years is that you're not seeing what a lot of people have described as middle-class films. So the stuff that you see on Netflix, like an Adam Sandler comedy or a David Spade comedy, or a really good example is The Polka King starring Jack Black. Just a movie without any crazy special effects, not too avant-garde or not too indie, just a plain, simple movie.
With a good story.
Good story, 90 minutes. Those don't exist anymore. That's what I'm really upset about, because that is you either got tentpole franchises or you got the complete opposite. And, each side has their fair share of quality films. But what really bothers me is that there's no middle ground. Because the middle ground is what we cement as normal movies. Because stuff like Billy Madison we all grew up with wouldn't exist in a theater anymore in this day and age. It would be straight to Netflix, straight to Hulu, whatever the fuck. All we would have are big budget, $200 to $500 million superhero films. That's all it's in theaters, franchises.
But I will say A24 is one of the production companies
Yeah.
that is like making those movies, to be honest with you.
Well, they kind of fall into that latter category. They aren't the middle class film. A24 is the higher independent side of film. They aren't the Polka King or Billy Madison. 'Cause
Yeah.
you don't see any comedies
No.
or anything normal right now. It's just Jumanji, Jungle Cruise. Transformers is gone, but you got
I was gonna say both with Dwayne Johnson.
all with Dwayne. You
It's
got
all Dwayne.
Dwayne Johnson, Batista,
Well,
John Cena.
He produces all those movies, so
Hell yeah.
he essentially like tells the director what the fuck to do.
Wow.
Like if you're directing one of his movies that he's producing, like you're not gonna have a say in
Yeah,
anything.
he's like, I need to wear khakis.
But yeah, it's not the independent stuff that I'm most worried about. It's the middle class film,
No, I
which is just a
understand.
normal movie.
Yeah.
Normal movies that we all name something that from 1995 or whatever.
Airheads.
That would not be in theaters now.
What about
That
Kevin Smith movies?
Kevin
would that
Smith,
be
none
middle?
of that shit would be in
Yeah.
theaters now.
Yeah. I mean,
At
he's still
all.
getting movies made. He kind of fell off, though. I'll be honest.
I can
whole
go
nother
on about
conversation.
that.
Encino Man.
Woo.
Biodome.
I love the
Yeah,
guy, though.
those movies would just be straight to streaming. They would not exist in theaters because right now theaters is either A24 or even further down the aisle of theaters, like the super micro independent films, the stuff that's either in cons or even below that, or
But those
the
are
Avengers.
those are all studio, like you were saying earlier. Those
Yeah.
are all studio produced. anyways,
Exactly,
yeah.
but and independent has always been independent and always in the niche and underground. So I'm not really complaining about those. Again, it's just like, you can't have Money Talks starring Chris Tucker and Charlie Sheen unless there's going to be a Money Talks 2, 3, 4,
Yeah.
9, 8, 7. That's what bothers me because it's almost like people don't see cinema as just a movie. Now it's just like what Martin Scorsese was saying, theme park ride. So the latest theme park ride is Avengers Endgame, and then you got like the weirdos that like the A24 stuff. It's just sort of.
Even though I will be honest, like A24, their fucking horror movies kind of suck ass. I don't.
They're so artsy.
Horror's a different genre.
like I hate Hereditary.
I
like,
was
everyone
not
liked it.
scared.
Yeah, did
Yeah, I was like, I watched Midsommar first, and I did like Midsommar a lot. I was like, visually, this is great. I'm just high enough for this to really scare me. Like, this is good.
So they play off. So they both play off as special interests.
Yeah.
Both sides, and that's kind of the problem. Is that it's just it also kind of reflects that of society today, where we're all just kind of on extremes. There's no sort of neutral middle ground of just
Yeah.
life. It's you got to be one or the other. It's
Yeah,
like
that
team
is true.
sports.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm upset about. I definitely play into the weird underground shit with my films, but I'm not saying everything needs to be this. Not at all. I mean, I
Yeah.
fucking love Batman, so I'm not gonna piss on that.
They're
I'm not a completely pretentious asshole.
There needs to be room on the playground for that. It can't just be.
No. This is.
Well, I know what you mean. I mean,
dirt.
like,
Oh wait, hey, so sorry to deviate too, since we're talking about low budget filmmaking. You guys actually inadvertently, well, I wouldn't say inadvertently, but you did a cover, like a VHS cover, right, for Kansas Bowling?
Yeah.
The BC Butcher.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a collaborative film, so that was really fun because I've been telling him for like years, I'm like, someday I'm going to design a VHS cover. And she had made a post randomly when she was on social media, and she was like, hey, any artists, want to maybe design? And I hit her up. I responded, and I was like, if you're down, I would love to, if you want to look at my work. And then I got ghosted. Like, she didn't respond. I didn't hear anything. And then, like, a few weeks later, she hit me up randomly, and she was like, hey, so I super love your stuff, but, this guy I had hired to do it, it sucked, and I was just wondering if you would want to do it. Also, I really love your stuff. And I'm like, you don't have to flatter me. I already am going to do it for you. I'm like, this is a nice opportunity. And so it was fun, and she gave me all creative control. Like, I could do whatever I want. It's like a compilation VHS, so it's BC Butcher and then a bunch of other stuff she's been in. And that was just so much fun. And it's fun that, like, those kind of things can still happen and that I can somehow be connected to it. But
That was a good topic to bring up because she has a rich history with trauma. She's in the new Tarantino movie and stuff,
Yeah.
and my gal here, Beck, got to do some art design for her, so that's cool. And
Yeah,
stuff.
that's
That's
really
fun.
cool.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't know who she was. I hadn't seen her movie, but when I saw you post that you had done that cover,
Yeah.
I was like, I started looking into her, and I was like, oh, cool, I want to watch this movie, and I started watching it. What was that?
Okay.
Oh, so yeah, I watched it.
Yeah.
And then like was looking up other movies she was in, and then Jeff, you and I kind of were DMing about Psycho 8.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that was a great.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
That's a yeah.
Yeah.
That's a wild movie.
Yeah.
I've never announced. I've always Okay, so I was waiting to hit y'all up about this.
Arista,
but,
can you get Shelly?
But y'all know about Trauma, right?
Yes.
They're the longest running independent studio in America.
Toxic Avenger.
Yeah, they did. We watched one of their movies a long time ago.
Class of Nukem High.
Nukem High one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never saw that.
Yeah, you bought the like video at a garage
It's not
sale.
called
Or,
Nukem High.
or-
It's called something else. You talking about the one where they cut? I know.
Yeah, it's like aliens and
it's
shit.
like- okay.
Oh,
like
maybe it isn't
monsters.
them. I don't know. But it's like the same kind of
Yeah, blood, booby, gore.
yeah.
B movies, Z
cheesy.
movie.
It's like very
Yeah.
cheesy.
You know, well, Henrietta's going to be on their streaming service, so I don't know when, But I signed the contract like a year ago, so we'll see what happens.
And you haven't heard it? You haven't reached out to him, or?
I mean, there's only so much you can do.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he recently re-signed a contract because they're on Roku now.
Yeah, they're expanding to Roku and Google and Amazon and stuff
So you're
like
still
that.
there. You're in it.
Yeah,
but-
so they're still going to release it at some point, but it's been. I just got kind of impatient, and so I was
Right.
like, whatever. I'll just put it on VHS because at least with VHS, I know for sure they won't release it on that medium because there was talks of like Blu-ray and full distribution and stuff, but they
Someday.
Arrow, Kino Lorber.
No, that's fucking badass, dude. Hell yeah. I mean, like, number one, congratulations. That's awesome. Like,
Thank you.
you're gonna have a movie on a streaming service. Like, you made a feature film. Like, that's more than most can say.
Yeah.
Congratulations, dude. Seriously, this is like awesome.
Thank
And,
you.
Yeah, I hold you in high regards. Like, it takes a lot to do what you did. So
You got to sacrifice a lot if you're doing what I do. It's not always pleasant, but
It's so worth it, though. It's so much fun. I mean, like, what's life? But
I mean,
creating stuff.
Films are hard fucking
Yeah.
work. People don't realize they're.
I'm already on the second one, halfway through. So it's just like you gotta really be psychotic
Yeah.
to do
It's a
these
roller
things.
coaster.
I mean, you have a lot of momentum going too. So just
yeah.
keep that ball rolling. What's up?
No, I was gonna say I was watching this documentary about Andy Kaufman and Jim Carrey. But anyways, in that thing, he says this thing that I just thought about, and he says that his dad quit being a saxophone player, and he went to take care of his family, and he lost his job at 51. So Jim Carrey was like, you know what? I decided I'd rather fail at doing something I love because you can fail at something that you hate.
Yeah.
And so I feel
Yeah.
like that's something that you're doing.
Well, you put the nail on the head because I know people that I'm related to that gave up their art almost immediately as soon as they reached adulthood, and they're miserable. And I don't ever want to be that. I'd rather be homeless than give up on filmmaking and just have a normal, 9 to 5 type of lifestyle because it's just not in my blood to be that way. It's just ever since I was born, it's just cartoons and movies and shit. And so even if it doesn't reach cons or anything like that, it's just I don't want to be pent up with rage my whole life because I didn't get to do what I wanted to do. It's like forget about family perception or public perception. I've already accepted the fact that my lifestyle isn't universally accepted. So I totally the Jim Carrey story is basically what I'm doing now.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, you're dug in, and like, dude, just keep hacking away.
Yeah.
That's and like I said, you're working on your second feature film. So.
Yeah, and I'm doing a music video for Paul Leary of the Butthole Surfers, and that's the biggest. I wouldn't want to say client. That's the biggest person I've been involved with this art stuff. I mean, he's not so big now, but back in the '90s, like he produced like Sublime's first record. And
They were in Slacker, right? One of them.
one of them was the
Right,
drummer.
the drummer.
Yeah, I forgot her name. Yeah,
She's the one all over the cover, right?
yeah, she's on the yeah.
Is she still in with the band or no?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean the band doesn't really exist anymore.
Yeah.
But he does solo stuff and he produces a lot of famous people and records and stuff like that. And he's on a label that I admire, and so that's kind of cool. And so yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude. Well, looking forward. I can't wait till we have you back for the next feature film.
Well, yeah. I'll let y'all
Becca,
know.
are you gonna be in that one too?
I'm Pumpkin? I was in the grocery cart. I play like a comatose homeless lady. Man, he made me eat so many Funyuns. Like my mouth was raw just from like shoving them because I was like in character and I just have to keep eating and.
I will say something though. In Henrietta, is pasta like a theme? Because I feel like maybe in other ones too, it's like they're eating SpaghettiOs, and then they're eating maybe
Wow.
spaghetti in another one.
It was like SpaghettiOs and then it was like Chef Boyardee spaghetti.
It's just the easiest thing to buy and cook right away.
He doesn't even heat it up. He's just like here.
It's just it's
Like
just
a
cold.
dog.
It's just cold.
God damn.
Yeah, that and Hawaiian punch and stuff. It's just
Yeah.
whatever's easiest.
Kool-Aid.
Yeah, you leave the set and you're like, oh my tummy.
I'm not providing like special lasagna casseroles and shit.
We
like
did
that.
make some kick-ass spaghetti and meatballs one time with Nick's Nova during Henrietta.
But that wasn't even in the movie though. That was just like
I know. I'm just for craft services. That was like the one time that we actually went all out, and then every now and then it's like we'll leave set, and it's like, all right, do you guys want McDonald's? Like,
yeah. Most of the actors, I just give them beer or like fast food,
Yeah.
or nothing at all. So they're real troopers. I love all of them so much. Without them, I wouldn't exist. So that's kind of kudos to them for being troopers and stuff.
Fuck yeah. Well, we're gonna wrap it up. I just want to say thank y'all for y'all's time. I really appreciate it. I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
Continue to do it, and we are here to help in any capacity, any way, 100%. Like we're big supporters. Whatever you need, don't feel shy to reach out and ask, because we'll definitely help. Edward.
So let's just say you did make it big, right? You
Yeah.
made it big, and then you're like, oh, he's out of Austin, Texas. Would you correct them and be like,
No, I hate Austin, dude.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure.
I always say San Marcos. I've
Okay.
been labeled as Austin before once. So, yeah.
78666.
Yeah, yeah.
I was just saying because I got friends who grew up in Lockhart and they say they're from Houston because they rap. So I don't know.
that's
Yeah,
funny.
that a scene can't grow if you keep referring to yourself from somewhere else. I know so many people that from San Marcos that say Austin, and I'm like, fuck you, It's like ridiculous. San Marcos, that's where I'm from. Why would I lie? And Austin has a bad reputation now anyway, so who gives a shit? So.
Jeff, any last words? Anything?
Uh,
Say to speak your truth.
Henrietta and her dismal display of affection. It is on limited edition cassette tape, VHS, and these are probably going to be sold out by the time this episode comes out. Any more info, go to jeffreygarcia.com.
Yes.
And thanks to this gal, and thanks to the boys. You guys are actually in the special thanks credits for Henrietta.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I'll be honest, I didn't see it, but Edward did, and he was like, "Hey, we were in the credits," and I was like, "Oh fuck yeah, awesome!"
Yeah, dude.
Hell yeah. Piece
So,
of history.
I always make fun of Edward for not watching the credits, and then the one time I don't, he does.
Well, the
Wow.
tape has a bunch of bonus stuff afterwards, so definitely if you find a VCR at Goodwill or something.
yeah, that's the next purchase I'm gonna be making is a
Yeah.
VCR. So.
If you go to Goodwill, they'll let you return it within 7 days if it doesn't work.
Oh,
Pro tip for anyone
Nice.
needing their
We're also
VHS fix.
Goodwill employees.
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
I might see if my mom has one.
Yeah.
Hanging around. We'll see what's up. Becca, anything?
No, I mean, just
Do you-
keep making movies, guys.
You got a website? Anything?
Yeah, you can go to theloveclub.com. It's THA, The Love Club. I'll just be slinging art, let me know if you want to doodle, anyone. But, yeah.
All right, guys. Thank y'all for listening, and we really appreciate our guest. We look forward to next week when we take you back to the future. Bye.